Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky Setra. I hope you're doing well. So in today's video, it's going to be one of my educational videos about a nurse who was struck off the NMC register for sleeping whilst on duty and watching Netflix and Misconduct actually. So if you like to know more about this case, watch the video to the end. And just to clarify, the reason for these videos are purposely for educational reasons. So let's get into the Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky Setra. I hope you're doing well. So once again, as I said in the introduction, I'm going to be talking about one of the cases whereby a nurse was struck off from the UK NMC register due to misconduct. And as I said again, these videos are basically for educational reasons, so we can all learn from these sort of things, most often unacceptable behaviors. So what are some of the reasons? I need to take my glasses. I hope you don't mind me doing this. So we're going to be looking at some of the reasons why a nurse or a nurse associate can be struck off from the register. So one of the reasons someone could be struck off the register would be lack of competence, misconduct, criminal convictions or cautions, health-related reasons, not having the necessary knowledge of English, determination by other health and social care organizations, fraudulent or incorrect entry onto the register. And who can refer someone onto the NMC for discipline? There can be self-referrals as a result of cautions or convictions or change to your health actually. So anyone actually can raise a concern about a nurse or healthcare worker. Making referrals can be done by a member of public, any employer or your colleagues or third parties. Most often a referral from your employer would be through a designated process. So ideally the NMC would want the situation to be resolved in-house or dealt with in-house, and if they are unable to deal with that and it's a very serious situation, then it goes to the NMC. So let's talk about the case in hand. So as I said in the introduction, it's about a nurse who was struck off due to misconduct, and the misconduct was the fact that she was rude to a resident and she slept on duty and she was watching Netflix as well whilst on duty. So what are the charges? So this nurse was reported to have used force or acted inappropriately towards a patient or a resident. She held the resident against a door, that is first one, but that charge actually was not proved. She attempted to remove, or she took a jug of water from the resident. She spilled water on the resident. She put a resident in a wheelchair by holding or grabbing the resident's arm or clothing. On one or more occasions, the nurse pushed, pulled or dragged a Zimmer frame away from the resident. Another charge was that the nurse placed her arm underneath the resident's arm and pulled the resident whilst the resident was in a wheelchair. Another charge was the fact that the nurse raised her voice to the resident when she was in a wheelchair by shouting, "Stand up," and she or use words to that sort of nature. Another one is that the nurse said like F behavior about the patient. She said things like she's lost the plot about the patient. She said things like stop being stupid, you are acting like a child about a patient. I believe if it's a resident, it means this person might be an elderly person or a frail person, and as a nurse you should not even speak to anyone in that manner. Another one was the fact that she told a colleague to drag the resident out of a wheelchair. No, we don't do that as nurses. Another charge is the fact that she failed to take any action when the resident's condition deteriorated. She failed to escalate the resident's condition to a manager or a doctor. She also failed to do baseline observations like temperature, BP and pulse on the resident. Another charge is the fact that she failed to notify the next of kin soon after the resident had suffered a fall. Ideally, if you are on duty, especially this is in care homes as well, as even in the hospitals, if you're looking after someone and they had a fall, there's a process you have to follow, and you have to follow those protocols. But this nurse is reported not to have done that. She failed to adequately record details of the resident's fall, so that was not even recorded either. Another one is like datus incident form or fourth protocol was not followed. So in each hospital or in a care home, wherever you're working, there are guidelines and protocols regarding incidents or anything we do anyway. So ideally this nurse was supposed to have followed those protocols about falls, but she did not do that. On over one or more occasions, this nurse was observed by other staff sleeping on duty at the reception area and was actually reported to be snoring as well. She also was reported to have been watching Netflix on a mobile phone without headphones. She also used headphones on other occasions. She did not respond to a call bell. This is quite, so all of us, we at work, most people always have their phones in their pockets, and on night duty, yes, there are times you could have quiet periods, but you're being paid to work, so we are not supposed to be watching Netflix on duty. Be careful what you do whilst you're at work on your phone. Just be careful. So in light of the above, fitness to practice is impaired by the reason of a misconduct. And then evidence about this case were heard from both the home manager and staff that were duty or who worked with this nurse. So basically, what is the learning from this? Be careful what you do. Any other person, a nurse associate, working in a care home or in a NHS, just be careful what you're doing with your phone whilst you're on duty. And apart from that, not just that with your phone, yes, sleep. You might be very sleepy on night duties, but you have your break times and you do what you're supposed to do when it's your break time. And on top of that, being rude to residents or patients, however you refer to them in whichever settings you're working in, it is not acceptable. Especially also in care homes, you have people with dementia, people who are very frail, and we know that most often, because of their condition, we know what dementia is, what the effect or impact of dementia is on the individual. Most often they do not really know what they are doing. I have a very good experience with that, and it's quite sad seeing your parent or your auntie or someone who has been up here in whatever they're doing, and suddenly here they are, they cannot recognize you, they cannot recognize family member, they do things and they apologize for doing what they have done. It's quite sad. And when you're looking after people in this group or this group of people, you have to be very compassionate with them. And so basically, based on all these things, the nurse has actually breached most of the NMC codes about treating patients with kindness and respect and compassion. Where were all those things? And we need to uphold people's human rights, and that did not seem to appear in this case. And so this is just general information. It's a learning process for all of us. We learn every day from others' experiences. Actually, this is not something I think I would ever do to any patient under my care, and I know basically majority of nurses out there, of you out there, will not do things like that. But it's just to be aware, things like this can get you sacked from your job as a nurse. And after that, what do? What else would you do? I know, yes, you would say you could find something else, but you know, we go into nursing to care. So remember to care. Remember to respect people's dignity when you're on duty, not only the residents or patients under your care, even your colleagues. Sometimes I see the behavior of some nurses and you just question, you know, the way they talk to their colleagues and all that. Anyway, that would be for another day. So I hope you've enjoyed or you have learned something from this video. Remember to subscribe, like and share, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.